Hello, peeps, friends, and fans, and welcome to our channel, Mama and Meadow. My name is Debbie, and that's spelled D-E-B-Y, one B and a Y, a.k.a. Mama, M-A-M-M-A, with two M's, and Meadow. She was here a second ago with four paws and no desire to be on camera. As you can see, she was just standing here. So anyway, today what we're going to do is finally do a tour of my lovely 2024 Thor Four Winds with a Ford 450 chassis. Say that 10 times fast. So we're going to start with the outside. And like I said, it's a 2024. It's on a 450, which, trust me, I mean, I live on a hill right now. And if you saw how to get up here, yes, the 450 is excellent power to do anything. If you've seen where the RV GPS has taken me, where I'm screaming and going, why would you have an RV go on this road? This has been there. Dirt roads, you name it, it's been there. So it's very strong and sturdy. So I guess I'm going to start back here. One of the things that I liked best about this is the storage. I was originally going to go with a much smaller RV, which actually the reason why I'm doing the tour is because I am selling this because I'm downsizing. I love this to death. But as you can see, I did not add a car to it. So I added Uber to my account. Guess what? They don't have Uber in half the states. I started with the East Coast in the middle, and we got stranded. So I am going to downsize to a cargo van. But again, one of the reasons why I did choose this is because of all the storage. Now, this has no slides. You know, I didn't want anything mechanical to go wrong. And I opted for the bigger one because it has a much larger bedroom. The smaller one, it was kind of like the bedroom was cramped next to the bathroom, and the bed was leaning against windows. So no. But once you see all the storage in here, you'll know why. So now this is what they call the garage or the basement. And this was one of the reasons why I did choose it, because I have a lot of shit. I had a very large house. I had a three-story townhouse. And even though I spent like 14 months, every month I scheduled a donation truck to come, and I kept giving stuff away and selling stuff, but I still had a lot of shit. So that's why I bought this. And if you see, this goes all the way through to the back. So you can get it on the left side, the right side, and the back side as well. Now, what I want to show you here, I'll just take some of this stuff off. This actually is, I'm not really sure what they call this, but it slides in and out. Now, originally it did have a grill and the refrigerator. Refrigerator I'm taking with me, and the grill I did give to my neighbor because I knew I wasn't going to use it. But I mean, this is great because it's got all the stuff that I kind of need. Like on a daily, weekly basis. This is like dog food, the cleaning stuff. I've got rescue stuff and that green thing back there. And a lot of these I'm going to demonstrate in a further video. And for this video, I'm going to put the links below for all the Amazon links that I have for, because just about everything in here is from Amazon. But that green thing right there is a tire inflator. That's a technical term, right? So this is great for all those things that you need right away, and you just shove it back and it locks in. Now there's also more storage underneath here. I mean, these little doors come up and everything falls in. My toolbox. I don't really have anything in here, but I mean, this is more storage underneath that you can use, and you can access it from this side and of course over here too. Then if you come around back, there's room here for a spare tire. I do not have one because I have a lot of roadside assistance because I am not changing a tire. But there's room for one, and you can put some more stuff in there. And then there's a little spot here for storage. And I have a lot of like bungee cords and like water storage if you want to carry water to your tanks over here. And then you can put a lot of different things in here. But if you go around this side, this is kind of like my utility section because this is where a lot of the hookups are. So I have things for the electric. I have levelers, which are in here, and there's different ones in here, smaller ones and the red rocky ones. The hose to the tanks. This is another toolbox. And this is a lot of my water hoses and water fixtures that I put on here. Now this is a blue filter. And it has 3 different filters that are in it. I've seen so many people that just have it laying out, and I'm like, no. So I literally had it installed in here. So the water that goes in from the city water, because that's the city water connection, it goes into the freshwater tank, which is under the bed, and that's where we are right now. This is the bedroom. It's a 40-gallon freshwater tank, and so when it goes into the freshwater tank, it gets filtered 3 times. Yay! Now, right now it's winterized, and I didn't realize in the beginning that you can put the pink stuff in there, but you actually take the filters out of this, and it can still be winterized and obviously flushed out when it's time to use it again and put the new filters in there. So I like this so much better because it's in here, it's away from everything. I don't have to take it out and put it in, which I see so many people do. I'm like, no, not doing that. Okay, so that is the basement part. This is the city water connection. I made a mistake before when I was talking about the water filter. The water filter does the city water, which goes in directly into the sinks and the faucets or whatever. This is where you fill it in for the freshwater tank, which is what's underneath the bed. This comes from the campground or wherever you might be hooked up, and that's what goes through the filters. I made a mistake. Now I do have I have all kinds of filters everywhere inside. This is what they call a tank flush. I personally have never done it. I usually have the dealerships do it, but that's to clean out any of the tank gook and whatever that's in there. Now, as I was telling a friend here, I don't actually use the black tank. I mean, the toilet as it's supposed to. It's just me, a little old meadow. So I basically use commode bags in the toilet where you do your business and you wrap it up and you throw it out. Now, when we get inside, you'll see that my toilet and my sink is on one side and my shower is on the other side. So they didn't tell me, and it took a while, but the bathroom sink and the toilet are connected, so they're both the black tank. Since I don't use the toilet and I only brush my teeth in the sink, my black tank is minty fresh because I've never used it as a black tank. But this is where the hoses are. The black tank is back here, and the gray tank. Now, this is an extra part that I added on because if any goopy stuff comes out, it kind of holds it back so that you can open this first, open this, and anything that comes out will kind of be trapped back here. And so you open this, and then you can open the other two. And obviously I still have toothpaste water that's in there, and you open that, and you open your gray tank, and then your black tank. But as opposed to most people do the black tank and the gray tank. But because my black tank is minty fresh, we wash it with the minty fresh. So that is for the hoses, and of course I have hoses that are in here. Here is the electric box where you hook in. I think this is cable. Yeah, this is for cable, which... not for nothing, but who uses cable anymore? I mean, I don't. Anyway, that's for if you're at a campground and they have cable services. This is the heater here. Now, this thing is fantastic. It's a bug preventer, I guess you want to say. Now, the thing is that they came with these stupid little spring things. I'm like, who invented that? Because that thing would fall off all the time. I actually put this on, one's rusted and one's not, but with picture frame wires. I got it in there and I twisted it on, and this sucker's on there solidly. The springs that it comes with, useless. This is an extra little storage spot. It's just a tiny little thing, but what I have in here is the steps, and this is for your hoses, your black tank and your whatever, and some campgrounds actually require that you have this. You have to have this. I don't know why, but you have to. And so this space is perfect for that. That's the only thing that's in there. This is the tankless water heater. This is the propane tank. It's supposed to be like 12 gallons. I'll write that in there just to make sure, but I think it's 12 gallons. Now, the only downfall with this is that you can't take the tank to like a Walmart or Tractor or whatever. You have to bring the whole vehicle with you to be filled. Now, of course, Tractor Supply does, some of them do have propane. Otherwise, you can get that at the campground, the propane. And over here, this is another fantastic thing. This is the generator, and it's a 4,000 generator. And this is fantastic. It took me probably a year to figure out how to use it because I wasn't sure how much gas it uses. I have literally been boondocking in my mother's, which is an assisted living, in the parking lot for a month. And I probably only ran it 1 to 2 hours a day because I do have solar panel. But it didn't use any gas. I had 10, 15 hours a week, and it hardly used it. The gas gate, if you got a generator, use it. And this is great because this is a newer one, so it's not quite as loud. I think it's louder inside than it is outside. But I do love the generator because if you don't have solar and you don't have electric or whatever, this will run off of your gas tank. And this particular model has a 15-gallon safety feature to it because it is a motorhome. And you don't want to use all the gas up and then not be able to go anywhere. So if your gas tank is down to 15 gallons, it will automatically shut off so that at least you have enough gas to get the hell out of here. So that's good. So this is the front of the vehicle. And as I said, it's a Ford 450. These rear view mirrors, whatever, they are heated. So that's a bonus too if you're out somewhere and you know the fog and the mist and the cold and whatever. Now, what I also added was what they call a tire monitor system. And I have 6 tires because there's dualies, 2 tires in the back. And you just screw them on this thing. And I have a little teeny monitor that's inside. I'll show you later. And it tells you what the PSI is, pounds per square inch, and also the temperature that's on there. And there's alarms that you can set. Now, when I first got it, I'm like panicking because I, set the alarms too low. These are supposed to be 75 pounds. The one in the back is 80 pounds. The 4 in the back are 80 pounds PSI. The dealership originally said to make it 10% higher, meaning the parameter too high or too low. I made it a little bit higher than that because he said really what you need to look for is not so much, because if it's hot, the tires are going to be hot. If it's cold, the tires are going to be cold. What you should really look for is one or more is completely different than the others. Like the range of them is way too hot or way too cold. So, but I literally look at that tire monitor every single time. Now, the thing is that you kind of have to drive a few miles first just to get it more accurate because it will sort of do whatever the last bit was or maybe what's overnight. So, but that's bonus because I don't want my tires blowing up. Thank you. So now we're on the other side, and again, we have more storage. This looks like a hot mess, but in here I have the camping rug. I think it's like 8 by 10. I have 2 camping chairs in there, and this is just like a doormat that goes, in front of the door here too. As you can see, it's all muddy and gross. Above me is an awning, which I love. It has awning lights underneath there. It is manual, so you have to come inside on the wall here and just make sure you reverse it in the correct way, because I was at a campground once that had pine cones and pine needles, and nobody told me that you have to roll it under, and I had rolled it over, because if you press this button, it will go, in whatever direction. I had rolled it under, and all the pine cones and everything got caught in there until I got to the next campground, and I had to leaf blow and sweep it off. So don't do that. Make sure you roll the awning to go under. But this is fantastic. It's huge. It's very nice. And even though it's manual, it only takes a few minutes to do that. Over here, if you're, outside, it's got 2 plugs here that you can use if you got a radio, if you want to plug in your computer or what have you. You got 2 plugs there. This, is outdoor propane. Don't ask me exactly how that uses it because I've never used it. But if you have like an outdoor propane cooker, you can use that. And then this is an outdoor shower where in here somewhere there's a little coily hose that you can hook up into this, and you can, rinse the dog's feet off, rinse your own feet off, or even do a shower. So that is the outside part. And there are outdoor lights that are here. Now, if you look up there, that little black thing, which one of my dealership men thought something broke off, that is actually for a camera. I have a camera that is directed directly towards the door. It's not up there now because I don't want it flying off while I'm driving, but it's magnetized. So all you have to do is magnetize it and it goes directly towards that door. I don't really use it anymore, but I have it just in case. The door. This actually has this frosted thing here, and I'm first of all, I'm not a morning person, so the light, yeah, if you see once we get in there, there's like a whole lot of room darkening everything in there. But I like this too, because if you don't want, the morning light, or it's also because I'm a single solo woman driver, I did not want, you could still see somebody moving around, so that's why I got this. But if you want it, open, or you can take the whole thing off, it's just magnetized. But I leave it up all the time. And then of course we got the screen door. Now the only thing about that I don't like is these locks. You see a lot of locks now with the combination ones, but for some reason this model does not come that way. So a lot of the keys, and you will hear from other people, they are the same keys, so on a lot of models, and you can buy them, because I lost some keys, and I did actually put there's a number on here, so if you lose the keys, you go on Amazon, put that number in, and get some replacement keys. That's kind of the only downfall to this, is that, somebody might have a key to your place, just to let you know. Now we're in the bedroom, and this is another reason why I picked this particular model, because I didn't want to be crammed up against a window. I have a huge sleeping problem, so I need whatever, oasis I can get to sleep. So we're just going to go around the room, and I'll show you some of the things that are in here. I guess first of all, we'll talk about the thermostat, which originally, you can see by these little screws, it had one of those analog things, which is basically a slidey thing that you had to guess what the temperature was. I'm like, yeah, no. I mean, I do have one of those little thermostat things there, and it tells you, I have something on the door on the garage that's telling me it's 90 degrees outside. Oh God. And it's 73 degrees inside. I don't know if that's really accurate. Oh, you know what? I have the door open, and the sun is shining on the outdoor monitor. But this is digital, so I switched it. It's the same company, Coleman Mac, I think it is. But I can sit here and see what it is, and I can literally manually say, hey, I want it up to 75. And of course, it's 74. It just went up to 74. So that was a bonus update that I did. Now over here, this technically is for TV. There's TV hookups and cable hookups and I don't know, all that stuff. I have a 37-inch TV in the other room, which I'll show you when we get there. But this is actually corkboard. This is like 9 by 9, I think, and it's just peel and stick. But, I have thumbtacks and I hang up things, and yes, it's a hot, stinking mess. But that's what I use that for. That's like a little message board, or things that I hang cards and, as you can see, ornaments and what have you. Now over here, this originally came with that tan, disgusting accordion thing or whatever. Number one, this one broke, I think, after 3 uses. And yes, I did have this RV inspected before I bought it, and everything was great. One of the things that I didn't like, besides the fact that it broke, was, again, it was tan. So being a solo female, I mean, yes, you may not be able to see that I'm naked in here, but you could see that there's somebody in here. So I replaced... Now, I made the mistake of taking the arms that were over here because I didn't like them. I did keep them in the bedroom, in the living room, which I'll show you that in a minute. But there is those plastic hooks, which I'll insert a picture, and all these products that I'm talking about will be in a description below. I'll have a massive list, listed by room of my Amazon links. They're just little plastic hooks, and there's a curtain rod. It was tricky to get it in there, but I bought these curtains. Now these are, not only are they blackout curtains, but they're thermal curtains, and I can't even tell you the difference. I mean, right now, if you put your hand on this window, it's really hot, but you close these and see how dark it got, and I'm telling you, it keeps the cold out and it keeps the sun out. But I do also have Reflectix. Now this shit is everywhere. You'll see in the other window, I put it in the windows, and especially in the wintertime, I'll put it in the living room. I do also have some of it against the outdoor walls, but it's also inside the cabinets, which I will show you in a second. This right here is technically a mirror. I put up a corkboard. It's just there with Velcro, so that can come off real easy. But there is a mirror over here, but I'm at the age that I don't really need to see what I look like, because I know it's bad. So in here, I have more Reflectix. You will see that every cabinet that I have in here, and the kitchen and storage, has got Reflectix, because when it's cold, it's cold, and when it's hot, it's hot. So Reflectix on any kind of outside wall. Now this actually has a hanging bar, but I knew I wasn't really going to have, didn't really need too much for hanging bars. I bought, I don't know if you can see it, but it is a wire shelf. It came with more shelves, but this only has, the wire and the one shelf. And there's actually 2 of them. So this closet actually has 4 of these bins that are in there. Right now this just has some stuff, and behind there's like backup, toilet paper and all the other stuff that you might need in an emergency. So this is very spacious. It also has these 2 drawers, which I basically use for like socks and like underwear, so those pull out. Oh, now here's my RV queen size bed. Yes, it's RV short, I think it is. Now you can't see it, but this is very, very deep because this is not the original RV mattress. This is by Brooklyn Bedding, and I think it's the Aurora Luxe. And then I bought this. Now I don't know if you can see the zippers that are here, but the great thing about these sheets, and this is from Betty, again the links will be below, but all you have to do when you need to go wash your sheets, it literally has a zipper that you unzip both sides, and all you have to do is take, this is like the comforter and this is like the blanket. I bought the one with the minky, apparently they call this the minky, but you can also unzip the sheet part here, and you don't have to worry about the outside rim part, because what a pain in the ass it is to make an RV bed, and especially this one, because it's a much bigger mattress than the original one. So this was expensive, but it was worth it. And then you wash it, you put it back together, and poof, you zip it up, throw your pillows wherever you want, and your bed is made. Ta-da! So love that. Now up here, again, tons and tons of storage. And yes, I'm a bin queen and a labeler. So there are 4 of these in here, but also because there's an angle in the back there, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I have 6 of these smaller bins. And it has things that are usually like seasonal, like this is, what is this? Oh, a dehumidifier. But I put like the fans back there in the winter time, and the heaters back there in the summertime, or what have you. So 6 little ones and 4 of these big ones. Now also what I have all my clothes in, well this is not a good thing, are what they call e-bags. And these are fantastic. They unzip and you can put, like this one is, this is sweatpants. So all my sweatpants are in here. They're in several things. And so if I'm like traveling or going somewhere else too, all I have to do is basically take the whole thing out, and you can squish a lot in there. So these are great. Definitely recommend those. And then you don't see all your clothes in a heap and disgusting pile. But of course, I'm a bin queen, so gotta go in a bin too. Oh, up here is a Max fan. Now this one was originally in the front, but it didn't have an automatic thing, so I switched it to here because I'll be on the bed and I can push it on and, open it up or whatever. And these are covers. These particular ones are magnet. There are different ones in the other fans, but these are magnet. And holy crap, is this magnet strong. I can't tell you how long it took me to take it apart, because you put the magnets in the rim here, screw this back on, and then poof. Just comes down real easy, goes back up real easy. And this is, well, sometimes there's light that comes through here if you don't want that, but also because of the winter time and the summertime. Again, in the summer you want the cool in the winter you want the, you want the cool out, yeah. Okay, over here, this is also a mirror. Yeah, no, we didn't do that either. I have all these motivational cards that I made up. So again, more Reflectix. This is a hanging thing, so yes, I do have a few things that are hanging here. And this, again, goes way, way back. So these are nice and deep. And there is one drawer over here. This is kind of like my junk drawer. I don't even know what's in it, so I'm not going to open it. And over here is a little, like, nightstand. It's only on one side, but it does have 2 USB ports. It has, what do you call those? I guess it's a 12 volt, like the car chart thingy, and then 2 regular plugs. And I guess a lot of people use this if they have a CPAP, or you can plug in your phone here. I mean, I plug it in somewhere else, but you know, there's some electrical stuff that's here. And then there's also where that TV was, there's an electrical thing there. And then technically underneath the bed, there's an outlet over here, and there's an outlet over here. So there's plenty of outlets in the bedroom itself. Now again, the curtains, because yeah, the other thing sucked. Now I had these things. I don't have any link for it or anything, but when I worked in an office, we had those walls that were like padded walls, and these things are fantastic for anything. Like, they've got the little metal teeth, and then, you know, the clips. So all you have to do is like shove that in the material, which these are padded, and then use them as clips. I'll show you in the other room how I like hung the lights on the top, and then you can put postcards or pictures or something or whatever that you want to in those clip part. Now over here, because I use any bit of wall space for storage, this is one of those hanging shoe racks, and it's a hot mess now because last year it was really hot and these melted off. But these clips here, which I will insert a picture and show you these, you gotta have these. I have these everywhere. You can hang so many things, and they are very strong, although like I said, I did rip it off because I put too much shit in here and it was really hot. But you can put all kinds of things in here. I mean, I've got, you know, dog thingies and batteries and keys and flashlights, and then of course this is my handy dandy little vacuum that I have. But again, you need to use any kind of space, vertical space, that you can. Alright, so now this is the bathroom section. This here is the shower, and over here, which we'll show you in a minute, is the sink, toilet, and cabinets for your lotions and potions. Now here's the lovely shower, which is fantastic, but I have never used this either. It's more of my water storage than using it for showers. I usually go to a campground or do some other things, just because it uses a lot of water, and what comes in, it goes in the tanks, and you got to empty the tanks. But this is really great, and one of the things I do like about it, this particular shower has something where you can turn it on, and as opposed to letting cold water, gallons and gallons, it will circulate for a minute or two until the water warms up, and then you can turn it on and you have hot water or warm water or whatever, as opposed to letting gallons of cold water drain until it warms up. So that's a bonus, although I haven't really used it. And then some of these things I just added, and I use this for storage for, you know, some lotions and potions and bags. Now this, I actually did a whole video on the 5 must-have things for a campground bathroom, and this is one of them. It's called a trolley dolly, and it actually is. It has the capacity to be a backpack as well, but I use this for laundry and or my shower stuff. So I put my shower items in here. Which are they in here? Yes. I have a little storage carriage, and I just put that in there, and my towels and my shoes, and of course we can't forget the infamous shower shoes that everybody should have, because showers in campground are disgusting. So I have that, and it's not only a backpack, but it's on, what do you call that? The wheels. It's got the wheels, and so you can actually use this separately too if you wanted to use this to cart something around, but I mean, it's strapped on there, and so I use this for my shower stuff, and then also when it's laundry day, just so that you can wheel it down, because sometimes I went to a campground recently where it was a 10-minute walk to get to the laundry room. You know, I'd be lugging all that crap. So this is fantastic, and of course I do use this for water storage. I have a 5-gallon bucket in here because I drink a crap load of water, and I did buy, I don't know if you can see this, one of these pumps, which it's USB charged, and you just have to press it and the water goes on, and turn it off. It's fantastic, and it sucks up all the water that's in there. All right, so that, oh, and right now it's very bright in here, but I do also have a plug to go up in there because, again, well, I don't personally like light in the morning, but it also keeps out the cold, and, you know, the cold in the winter and the heat in the summer. That's the word. Okay, this is the bathroom door. I, again, storage queen, bought these over the door hanger things. There's actually one on the other side as well. This one is more my kitchen thing. I have a collapsible sink. I have collapsible colanders. I have my fire blanket, which everybody needs one of those, even though I don't cook in here. You never know. Fire blanket, and then just like bags and things that I might need, and my paper plates and bowls and things like that. So that is basically for the kitchen section. Then you open it up, and I have another one here for the bathroom. Oh, and this opens up, and there's a magnet. So now you have the whole bathroom section now if you want to take a shower, get dressed, do whatever, and it's away from the main room. There's also a door here that if you wanted to close off for the bedroom, that's another privacy thing. So here's storage for the bathroom. And if you come in here, now like I said, I don't necessarily use the toilet as it's supposed to be used. I put little bags in there. You know, you pee, you poo, you throw it out. But there's storage here. I have a basket. This is a basket, and I have it like glued on there so it doesn't move in travel times. But there's so much room in here. Don't pay attention to what's in here. But lots of storage room for, you know, lotions and potions and, you know, all that other stuff. And over here in the bathroom is the water heater. You can tell when the water heater is on, what the temperature is on. And if you forgot to turn the propane on outside before you like started using something hot inside, yeah, that's just make sure you turn the propane on outside before you start to use it inside. But that's what this is. It'll tell you what the temperature is and if it's on, if it's fired up, because if it's not, then you know you forgot to turn it on. And this here is the fan. I'm not going to turn it on because I have it plugged. Again, all my fans are plugged. This was just the regular fan that came with it, which is that teeny little fan that's like this big. I don't necessarily use it, but it's there if you need it. Okay, so now we're in the kitchen, I guess, section. The refrigerator, the sink. Now this here, believe it or not, is not just a dish drying rack. It is a 3-burner propane cooktop, which I have never used. It is a Virgin. I turn it on when I have it inspected, which is every 6 months. I've had the entire vehicle inspected every 6 months just to make sure, because you never know, and I'd rather have it you know, checked out before I go back on the road and do my next 6 months worth of travel, because you get something done wrong, and I'm just a little old lady, and if I'm stuck somewhere, there's thousands of dollars. So I have everything inspected. And then it also has an oven. It's not the hugest thing in the world, but you know, it's got an oven. Once again, I have never used it. Why? Because my main cooking is this little lovely thing, which is a toaster oven air fryer. And that's all I really need. Like I said, it's just me, and most of the stuff that I cook is for the dog. Chicken for the dog. And then this becomes a dish drying rack. Now here is the sink. Again, I have this, you know, and I use this for prep, you know, if I'm prepping or making the dog food or whatever. Now this came with it. It did not come with the solid one, which most RVs come with a solid one, and I had bought an extra one of these thinking, oh, this is great as a dish drying rack. No. So this does not come with a solid one, but it does come with the nice sink. It's got the, you know, gooseneck and the water spurting thing or whatever you want to call it. And then I just, you know, if I'm not using the sink, then I just put, you know, just put these over there, and then I have a whole big area to prep. Now over here, this is a sliding glass, you know, thing, and obviously if you're cooking, you want to move this, because this is also, I replaced this. This had like that metal mini blind kind of thing. Again, did not like that, don't like mini blinds. So this again is a thermal room darkening curtain, and of course if I'm using the toaster oven or doing anything, then I just slide it over. And I had also put this film on there just because, you know, I stand here a lot and I don't want people looking in at me. Hello. So I put that on there. You can see somebody that's in here, but you can't. It's kind of a little, you know, distracted or whatever. And I think it's pretty, so I put that on there. It did not come with a towel rack, so I bought this, and it's just one of those things, you know, Amazon, that you just glue on here. And this is fantastic because it has this little spring mechanism on it, so it's not like the roll is going to roll all over. It literally suctions right on there, so that's fantastic. Now, this is also a microwave. I do sort of use this a few times. Don't use it as much as I thought, but it is a microwave. It's not a convection, it's a regular microwave, but you know, every once in a while you need to just throw some things in there. There's storage up here, which I used to put my pots and pans in there. And then there's these 3 drawers here, which is basically I have like my utensils. It's a little empty right now because I'm in between cleaning everything out, moving everything. Oh, look who has shown up to be on camera, not to be facing the thing. And so I have like my utensils in here, and there's 3 of these drawers, which is great. There's a section in here, and it's very small, but I do have some cleaning products in there. And then over here, it's empty right now, just because I'm in the process of redoing things. But a lot of people are always talking about, oh my God, things are falling out of the cabinets and yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Everything that I have in my storage is in some sort of a bin. And I did recently switch from plastic to glass. I know it's heavy and whatever and yada yada blah blah, but I don't want microplastics all over, so I put everything in those mason jars, and that's what these are: my powders, my nuts, my raisins, and things like that. And that's what goes in here. And then some of these other things I think these I got at Dollar Tree, and some of I think these were all from Dollar Tree, and these are from Amazon. Again, I'll put the links to stuff below. But if you go to Dollar Tree and then maybe Walmart and of course Amazon, you can get all these different size bins, and once you put stuff in the bins and you open them, and I have never really had anything fall on me, maybe a few times. It scares the crap out of her, so she won't sit on the couch when I'm opening those cabinets, but for the most part nothing has really fallen out. Of course, these are very good cabinets that stay that way. And then over here is my refrigerator, and I love this. Yes, it's loaded with tons of stuff. It is empty right now, and I normally have plastic bins in here as well, because you can just pull out the whole plastic bin and put your stuff in there. And then the refrigerator as well, I think it's empty. But I have these, which I got from the Dollar Tree. These are fantastic because you put your stuff in here and it's got the little handle, and mine particular refrigerator, you put 2 of these handle ones and one of the plastic that I had up there in here, and nothing has ever fallen out. Everything has its little section in here, and these, are drawers that come with it, so that's fine. But yes, and there's tons and tons and tons of storage in here for food and what have you. It is empty right now because I'm cleaning it out. And then over here, I bought this, and this fit perfectly right underneath the refrigerator, and this is where I put my shoes. I normally don't wear my shoes in here, put my slippers on, but this is a great little shoe rack, and it fit perfectly right underneath there. Here's basically the main motherload board, if you want to say. It will tell you how many hours the generator has been used, and I have that cleaned out as well. I guess it's called a gas change, an oil change, or whatever. This is how you start it. You press that and the generator will go on. These buttons here now, I don't have the AGM batteries, which I'll explain in a minute, but that's what the first button is. Is it the first button, the second button? The first one will tell you how much propane you have. I have 2/3, 3/4 of propane, and it will also tell you, your black tank. Everything is empty, so we're good. Everything empty? Yeah, everything's empty right now because we're winterized. But that's how you press these buttons. I mean, it's not the most accurate thing in the world, but it will tell you, are you close to being empty? Are you close to being full? Yada, blah, blah. And then here's the water pump. So when you are plugged into your city water, and like I said, that's where the filter goes through, and that's what comes out here. You have to turn the water pump on so the water will come out of the city thing. There's also tank heaters here. I've never actually used them, although for some reason they always wind up being on. I think they get pushed on. But there's a black tank heater and a gray tank heater, and I think that's for if you're really cold somewhere and you don't want it to necessarily freeze. I've never actually had to use those, but that's what's over there. Okay, so now this is basically our living room. It is, if you look down here, where the dinette table is. There's the table here, and then there's 2 benches that are over here. We lowered it and made it into one big bed, couch, for technically the dog and for me, which I'll show you in a minute, but this is where the TV is, and that's where we watch TV. And the reason why I did that, which I'll show you in a minute, is because I work from home, and I took out the couch that was on this side and put in a desk. So this is our couch, and I don't really need a dinette to sit at. This was a lot more comfortable for us to hang out. because that bed is so tall, the dog can't like get in it. So she sleeps here or in her co-pilot seat up front. Now again, here is those curtains that I talked about. Now this is what I was mentioning before. I took these arms off of the inside, which I probably should not have, because this one, as opposed to using those clips and trying to get the pole in that way, I just bought a tension rod. You know, one that you twisted and it like, you know, suck, and that's what these side things helped me out with. And also because you can tuck in the curtain, so that kind of keeps the light out and the heat and the cool out also. And of course there's more reflectix against every wall. Anything that has an opportunity for reflectix, I put that there. And again, there's some more clips here. I have some lights hanging across it. And then I have these paintings, which actually, if you look at this one, that's Meadow. And these two, that's Mercedes on the top, and that's Meadow on the bottom. And these are watercolor paintings. They're not pictures, they're watercolor paintings that my friend Val painted. So I'm going to put her information below because she is a fantastic artist. People look at these and they think they're a photo. But those are my 3 dogs. Oh, and then I have this little tension rod here that you're looking at, because these little lock things are so shallow that you're driving down the road and the windows are open. I'm like, why is it so cold in here? Where's this wind coming from? So I do have one of these little tension rods as when I'm driving, to make sure that this window doesn't go flinging open. Now again, more storage. Of course, I have all kinds of bins and things, different things in here. This one, and then I have shelves, which the shelves allow you to have different layers, because this is quite big, it's quite tall. And you know, you don't really have any tall things that go in here, so I have a lot of these. This one I think I stole from my mother's house, but these here are from Walmart. No, I'm sorry, these are from Amazon. And a lot of these things are also from Amazon. But again, I have hardly had any problem with anything falling out, maybe 1 or 2 things, which is why Meadow will like haul ass off the couch when I go to open it. But I always try to level at least from right to left, not so good about front to back, so that these things don't fall out. But honestly, I have never had a majority or anything really big or anything fall out, because I have everything in bins and they seem to stay. And there's also like a little lip here, so again, you know, things won't come out that way. So wonderful storage. And again, this is what we call the living room area, and we'll get to that entertainment section in a minute. Okay, so now over here, technically when I first bought this had one of those jackknife couches, which, you know, it's a couch and then it folds out into a bed. Well, I didn't need that many couches, and I knew I was going to make the dinette into the couch, and because I work from home, we needed a desk. Now, I brought all this stuff from home. I had these in my bedroom, in my closet. These are those 4 cubes. There's 2 of them that are like shoe thingies, but I put in these little bins. Yes, again, I'm a bin queen. And then more bins. This has laundry stuff. This has the dog stuff. And this is fantastic. When you first walk in the door, you can always grab things or throw it on the way out. And yes, this is another curtain, because the door loses a lot of heat or air conditioning or whatever. So this saves not only, well, there's not really any light because I put that thing on the window, but this also protects the inside when the heat's on or the air conditioning's on. Again, I put more of these curtains over here. Now, like I said, this is my particular thing that I put in here. I did keep the jackknife couch. It's out in one of my sheds, and so I will probably be putting that back in, and so you will have a couch, and you can use this as a dinette or whatever you want to do. I mean, this is what we chose to do. This just happened to work for me because this has got doors and drawers, and this was like, you know, I took from another metal leg table and took it apart and sanded it and stained it, and literally this is only on here by supersonic Velcro, so I can just, I don't even know if I can ever lift it off, but that's how it's put down there and has never moved. And of course I've got all my, you know, office things that I have here. Again, more storage, more bins, you know, Meadow stuff, the camera stuff, the food storage. Ugh. Whoops. See how I said nothing falls out? I lied. I just recently put these up there, but these are bags. And again, more of the level things that are on there, so you can put more items that are on there. And again, more reflectics throughout all of the cabinets. And if you're looking at what these are, because I'm so short, I originally got this to close, put it in here and close it. But when I get souvenirs, a lot of times I will get Meadow, those bandanas. So I just hook up the bandanas and they work really great to close. Look, see, I don't even need this. I mean, that's how I originally did it. But now I just use the bandanas that I got from, like this one's from Gettysburg. But just in case. And over here, at the front of the door, is where I have that. I usually have my keys hanging here. I got a flashlight. Those plastic hooks that I was telling you about, they're everywhere. This is where I put the keys when I first come in. I have 2 sets of keys. I put those here. There's hooks everywhere. This actually has a basket that I'm cleaning because it's got paperwork and Meadow actually has a passport. She came from Russia, so she has a passport that has her shots and all of her information that I can just give the passport to the campground or wherever we are traveling to, and they want to see that she's up to date on all her shots. So this probably will not be here. I will put the couch back in, and it's just this material here. This kind of material, and it's a couch that opens. It's a couch that opens up to a bed. So in the back you can sleep 2 people. They say you can sleep 2 people here and 2 people here, but I'm thinking adults 1 and 1. And then we have the over the cab, which I will show you in a minute. Look who decided to join us. Can you imagine? She's on camera. Shocking. All right, so now we're going to do the over the cab section. This actually can move. I mean, I'm shorter than shit, so I don't need, I just get in here and I don't have that problem. So this is always here. Again, I had a lot of stuff and a lot of storage, and so I just keep that here. It comes with these lovely curtains, so you can close them at night. And then here is our entertainment section. This actually flips when you travel. You obviously have to have it up against the wall to travel. It's a hot stinking mess. Fingerprints and icks. But this is a 37-inch TV, and this is fantastic. This is where, we sit and watch TV at night. And then over here, more reflectics, but I have some things that are back here, like blankets and bags and other storage, pillows and things that are in there. And when we do travel, obviously, like I said, I have to close that. You close the curtains, and then this seat belts into that. So this whole section here is basically strapped in, if you will. So this is a wonderful addition that I put in there. It does not, they did not give me the ladder. There's the hooks here for the ladder to get in. For some reason, they gave me some excuse that it's a danger and they won't give you the ladder. I don't know. Some of them don't even give you the ladder that's attached to the back, but mine does have a ladder in the back. No big deal, because I just jump on here and jump in there to get whatever I need. So this does not have a ladder. It did not come with a ladder, and I opted not to buy it because something else to put somewhere. I don't know where. And then, there is another fan here. Now this one is remote. The original Max fan that was here is what I said I put in the back because it didn't have a remote, but the bed is so tall that I can just turn it on this way. But with this, from here, because that's way up there and I'm too short, it will open it up. And these things are so that one can blow in air while the other one takes the air out, so it circulates. So sometimes it's really hot in here. Now the air conditioning is more for her, not for me, because I'm cold all the time. But this really circulates and cools this place down if I don't want to turn the air on and it's just, you want a little breeze. And it's got the temperature. You can set it to turn off if you want, to turn on, I've never used that, just use the on and off. And then, I don't know if it came with that or I bought that, but anyway, that just hangs out there. Speaking of little things like that, I want to go back over here where I bought a few things. Over here next to the bed is a little thing for the remote and my glasses. I have a pair of glasses everywhere. They're reading glasses. And then over here is another one of these things that I got from Amazon, and it just holds my cords, and sometimes there's a cord that comes out here depending on what I have plugged in. Now this particular thing is what they call waggle. and I recommend that anyone with a dog or an animal gets this. And what this is a temperature monitor. And it's connected to an app on your phone. And I even use it when I'm in the cabin, which that's a whole nother story, but in the cabin, and I can just check and see, okay, what is the temperature in here? And a lot of times if I go to Walmart or what have you, and she's got to stay here, now I usually try to turn the air conditioner on in the summer with the generator, but it will let me know how hot or how cold it is. So, you know, do I have to rush back and because the heater didn't work or the air conditioner didn't work or whatever, but it will tell me what the temperature is inside here, and there's alarms that will go off if it's, you know, too hot or too cold. So that's called Waggle, and I'll put, like I said, put the description down below, the link down below for that. But that's a must-have for a pet owner. So now here we have the cab, which is the driving section, or as you'll see here, the co-pilot, which is Meadow. Where are you going? Meadow's bed, and that's where she hangs out a lot of times. It's your standard Ford kind of a dashboard and all that, but some of the things that I just wanted to point out, besides, you know, the usual cup holder things and little slots for whatever you've got. I've got my gas card in here, my chapstick. The tire monitor that I was telling you about, those little things that are screwed into the tires, this is, and it's Velcroed in here, but it will tell you, and it's got a little picture that's on it, so it will show, and I'll take a picture of this. It's got a little picture on here that will show you, you know, like for example, right now, well, it's not running, but technically the last time it scheduled or looked at it, the back tires on the outside are 84 and 87. Which I said the standard is 80, so it is warm today, so it's going to be a little hot. And again, I'm not driving it, so this is what it is sitting still. And then the outside ones, or the other ones, are 86 and 87. Is that bad? Not necessarily. And then the front tires, which are supposed to be 75, are currently 80 and 77. Again, that's 2 and 5 pounds per square inch over, but because it's warm, and this isn't totally accurate because I'm not actually driving. But that is fine. I mean, even if it were to, if it's sitting still, the alarms usually go off when it's really, really cold, and then it goes down, and the alarms go off morning, noon, and night until I put some more air in it. But this, you have to have this, because one of the things that scares the bejeebies out of me, besides the propane, is tires blowing out. And not only does it give you the PSI, but it also gives you the temperature, the actual, you know, temperature, if a tire is too hot. Now, I personally hate to drive. Yes, I live full-time in an RV, and I hate to drive. So I don't drive that many hours per day. And it always seems that right when I'm close to where I'm going to be going is when the alarms might possibly go off, like in the wintertime. I mean, in the summertime when it's hot. And so I usually stop. But that, all that just really means is that, okay, maybe you should stop to take a break, and then it gives the tires a little bit of break, and then you go back on, and usually the tires are back to, you know, being under, you know, where they're supposed to be. I've never had an issue with it, even though it gets, you know, in the 90s, over the 80s or the 90s, just because, like I said, if they're all going up, it's because it's hot, or all going down, it's because it's really cold. It's just what it is. It's when one or the other is so much different than the rest, then you're like, let's pull over and check that out. So tire monitor system you have to have. Now up over here is a dash cam. I think it has one of those cards in there too that I can use for filming. But the minute you turn the car on, first of all, you can tell how fast you're going. If you're speeding, it will tell you that too. But it for any accident purposes, like if, God forbid, something in front of you happened or whatever, you have that you could either give to the police or give to somebody to be like, oh, hey, you know, wasn't me, I didn't do it. And then it actually stays on for about an hour after you park. So I have had friends that have had this on, and their camera was still on. They went inside to get something to eat, and somebody came out and robbed them, but it was on camera because they had gotten something to eat, but the camera was on for another hour, and it actually filmed the jackasses walking in front of the car, and then they could hear it because it also has audio, which I keep saying I should put this on the channel because I sit here and scream at the GPS all the time, and why would you have this RV drive on this dirt road? Anyway. So this is a bonus, and that's going to come with the RV when I sell it. I added this little phone monitor here only because when I first got the RV, this was not Android compatible, and my phone is an Android because you can hook it up and put your MapQuest or whatever. Actually, I have an RV. You need an RV GPS, not a car. RV, because the RV you can put in how tall you are, how wide you are. I have propane, so I can't go in a tunnel. Not allowed. And this will, the RV GPS will direct you on the roads that you can go on. And one of the reasons why I knew about this years ago is because where I used to live, we had a really low-lying bridge, and it was like 2 miles off the turnpike, and notoriously, at least once or twice a year, some jackass in a giant semi-truck would try to get underneath 12-foot bridge. And most people that have those huge trucks know they're at least 13.6. So when you see a giant sign that says 12, I would be thinking, not gonna work. And my brother, who was an over-the-road truck driver, said that's because they were using a car GPS to get the directions of where to go, and not a truck and or an RV. So you want to get an RV GPS. But anyway, going back to this, my phone was not originally compatible with the monitor that was on there. It is now, but because I got so used to just using the RV Trip Wizard GPS, that I just put up here on the phone. And I had to glue this sucker on here because there's nothing like your phone bouncing off while you're in the middle trying to figure out where you're going. And it falls all the way down here. So that is for the phone that I use for the GPS. Anybody now that has an Android or an iPhone can hook their phone up to here. Because there is, there's a couple of ports that are up here. This is plugged into, I believe, the dash camera, the car dash camera here, and that is using the 12 volt. So that's I always have that in. And then this is plugged in, and it actually is solar. There's a solar panel here, so this can be solar zhuzhed up, if you will. But right now, I just always have it here, and it's Velcroed on here, so it's always there. But there are some plugs here that you can use. And I believe, now this is obviously Meadow's bed, which has 4,000 different things on it. But in the glove compartment, there's also another one of these plugs that's in there. I mean, I personally don't use the 12 volt or the cigarette lighter holder thingy, but if need be, you can. I mean, I do have a giant Blue Eddy, which is not in here at the moment, but I will do a video on that. And that you can either use solar panels, you can plug it in, but you can also plug it in here while you're driving to zhuzh up that battery as well. Let's see, what else we got in here? Oh, now I have this lovely little cushion in here, which I love, and again, I'll put the links below. But it's not because I don't have my own padding, because I have plenty of my own padding. But the reason why I have this is because when I first started driving this, I couldn't see over the steering wheel. So this is my booster seat, because I'm too short. Yes, and like I said, if you look up here, this is that bedding part that if you wanted to put it all the way over there because you're tall and you don't want to hit your head, I don't have that problem. And I use the storage up there. And also, besides the storage, I forgot to say before, you can also sleep up here too. So this, and it does have cup holders in the back, and it does have plugs and its own lights above here as well. So like I said, you can probably sleep 2 in the queen size bed in the back. When I put the couch in there and the one here, I mean, it says 2 adults, but I'm thinking maybe 1, 2 kids. So it's technically supposed to sleep, I think, 8. But I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe 6 comfortably. 5 or 6. And if you have kids, 6 or whatever. So that's how much this will, this will sleep. And I don't have the car on now, but I've had this. This is a 2024. I bought it earlier and then built some stuff out, and I didn't really get on the road till April and May. But I think this has, and I'll put it over the screen because I'm probably going to say this wrong, but I think it only has about 21,000 miles on it. Somewhere in around there. I'll put the exact miles when I, figure out what exactly it is. Yeah. And I think that about wraps it up. So I will put all the information, and like I said, all the products and things that I probably didn't mention, and then I'm going to do more in-depth reviews on the other products too. But anything that you've seen or that I've described here, I'll put the links below to my Amazon or list where I got it, Walmart, Dollar Tree. And if anybody's interested in buying this little sucker, because I have bought a cargo van. I love this to death, but because I don't have a tow vehicle, and I did the East Coast and most of the Middle, and now I'm going to do the West Coast, which is the biggest states, and that's where they have all the national parks, and you can't get a national park, I think, unless you're under 25 feet, and the cargo van is going to be 20, and this is 30. If I didn't mention before, this is a 30-foot motorhome. And so, yes, so I have my cargo van, And now I have to sell this so I can zhuzh it up and build it up. So, I think if you put a message or whatever in the comments below, I will get back to you. And I will even spend an entire day going through all the things that people at the dealership didn't tell me, that I could tell you that, you don't know what you don't know, and I will go through everything that's in here and explain where the things are. I will be adding in the hoses and the electrical thing and the water faucets. There's a lot of other parts that are in there that I didn't show that I will leave there. Basically, anything that I did show you is probably going to be included here, including some of the things that I know what I forgot to do. One more thing. One thing that I did forget, I can't believe I forgot that, is this particular model came with the AGM batteries, and I knew from the beginning I wanted lithium. The AGM batteries originally were technically, when you walk up the stairs, underneath the stairs that are over there, and I didn't even realize it, because I already bought the lithium, I knew, but I was standing right by the stairs there and looking down, and I'm like, oh my God, I can see the ground. The batteries that came with this were literally strapped on a metal thing that's underneath, and they were strapped in, but it was underneath, not in a box, so that all the stones and the rain and any elements on the outside would have been hitting this battery. I'm like, whose idea was that? That was stupid. But I knew I wanted lithium, so we had to do a whole big package thing. And now what I have in this, this again was the dinette. Underneath here are two 100 amp hour lithium batteries. Now they don't have the heated ones or whatever, because this right here is one of the heating ducts. So as the heat comes out in the wintertime, they are heated up. So that's what's in this particular bench. Once you have the dinette, that's where a bench is. And under this bench is a 3,000 watt inverter. So again, if you don't have, electric, you're not plugged in, you don't have whatever, you can use the inverter, which there's a button down there to turn on. I've never actually used it. And on top is 500 watts of solar. So 500 watts of solar, 3,000 inverter, and 200 total, 100 each amp hours of lithium batteries. Now, I've never had a problem. I don't know if I mentioned, but I spent a month in my mother's parking lot at an assisted living this year and last year for Christmas. And between my Blue Eddy that I usually during the day, we might plug some stuff in, the solar panel in Florida, if it was nice out, would zhuzh up the house battery. Now, but the thing is that I'm the type that panics when it goes below 70%, any battery. But all I had to do was turn on the generator for like an hour, and it recharge the house battery and my Blue Eddy and everything else. And so I've never actually had an energy problem. Now obviously, to run the big power things, which is an air conditioner, your microwave, I think probably the toaster oven, and a space heater, you have to either be plugged into shore power. Oh, P.S. and by the way, this is a 30 amp RV, not 50, it's a 30 amp. So to run the air conditioner, the microwave, the toaster oven, and the space heater. I don't drink coffee, but for those of you who do, I think a coffee pot is really a big draw. Then you would either have to be plugged in to 30 amp, or have the generator on, or switch on the inverter. And I have never used the inverter. Quite frankly, I don't really know how to use it, but I was told to get a big one, because with the 3,000 inverter, you can add more solar panels, and you can add bigger and better batteries. I personally haven't needed them, but that's what the big 3,000 inverter is. And then over here, there's a fan. So if you hear some funky noise, like a blow-in noise, it needs to be cool. So every once in a while, it's not on now, it's silent. But, not to be scared, because I was like, what is that? It's the fan keeping the air circulating in this particular box where the 3,000 inverter is. So that's where the batteries are, that's where the inverter is, and it's all connected, wired to the 500 watts of solar on the roof. So that's all the electrical components that comes with this, that I added after. Our first trip out was 3 days in a hotel as they were rewiring, but much better than having the batteries under. Like, who thought that was a good idea to put batteries underneath an RV? Anyway, I digress. But that is the whole package right there.